Hey, I'm back. Sorry, obviously Twitch had a
meltdown.
Had a brain fart going on there.
Yeah.
Totally like frozen. And did something really weird. All right, so welcome back to Chef Scott Blair's Food Adventures in Food. So today we're going to be cooking outside, we're going to be cooking inside, we're going to be cooking everywhere. So I'll try to streamline the operation here. Did a little bit of extra prep on the side to get us moving. But come on in, Mr. Cameraman. Let's check this out. All right, for today's fiasco in the kitchen, which is going to be awesome, we're going to be doing our grilled pork. I've already pre-seasoned it. Look at those. These are manly chops. It's super thick and awesome. Love it. I know a lot of people freak out about pork. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Pork is yum yum. And they worry about, cooking it into the right temperature and all that jazz. But trust me, we used to temp this stuff. Cook it to temp, whatever we wanted. So, hasn't been any trichinosis out in the industry for a long time. Anyway, so we got some grilled pork. We're going to be making a roasted corn and apple salsa to go over the top of it. And we're also going to be doing some potato pancakes. So, without further delay here, I'm going to start us off strong. We're going to go with the biggest operation piece here. We're going to go right for the potato pancakes. We're going right for the jugular with that. So I went ahead and just boiled off some taters. Made them nice and soft, drained them off. Hopefully it didn't cool too much. Should be enough. I got butter. Most people, where they mess up with their taters, is they drown them in butter or cream. And cream and milk. But butter's where the flavor's at. That's where the good stuff is. I'm going hog wild on some butter today with this because I love it and it tastes really good. Butter and the seasoning, salt and pepper, is going to be the key to really good mashy potatoes. So we're going to start incorporating this in. So we got some heat in here, was good. Potatoes take forever to cool down, just so you know at home. When you make some potatoes, before you put them in your refrigerator, if you're going to try to make enough and use it for the next day, you'll want to let them cool outside a little bit because mashed potatoes hold their heat forever, which turns into a breeding ground for bacteria and such. And it also will heat up your refrigerator like crazy because they hold temp for a long time. So I'm starting to incorporate that butter. I'm going to grab my trusty dusty salt and pepper. And I'm going to do a little bit of pepper and going for my salt. I go a little bit extra on the salt. I don't want to go too crazy with it because the breading that I'm going to use on this also has some seasoning inside it, which I'll show you here in a second. But I also have some nice cheddar. We're going to start incorporating this cheddar and this butter, salt and pea. Make it good. It's okay if it doesn't melt all the way down because we can actually use this when we're cooking it. It'll melt inside it in those yummy potato cakes that we're going to make. You like cheesy potatoes?
Yes, sir.
How about you?
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. So I'm just going to incorporate that in. Mashing it in with my taters. Getting that cheese all incorporated throughout. Now, I did some chives. As you can see here, I got some nice chives. And I cut these into tiny little ringlets. So we're just going to sprinkle that in. Gives us some color, gives us some flavor. This is almost like a loaded baked potato kind of deal. So even if you wanted to make these for like an appetizer, you could put a little bit of sour cream, a little flavored essence sour cream, get it really naughty. Great for the next game. Makes yourself some nice little potato pancakes. Alright, that's in. I am going to switch over. I'm not going to mash too much anymore. I'm going to grab my $1 million tool. the rubber scraper. So I'm just gonna fold all this goodness in, right? Now I want these somewhat stiff. I don't want really loose potatoes because I'm gonna be making them into a form. I'm gonna mold them. Boom. What do you think? Looks pretty good, right? Don't be afraid to sample the goods, right? Tasty, tasty. Now, step 2 of this process. I'm going to pull it out my trusty dusty sheet pan. This is just where I'm just going to stack stuff. I'm going to line it with some parchment paper. Like I said, this is just where I'm going to stack some stuff. Put my potato cakes out. I've got a ring, molding ring, a biscuit cutter. That's where I'm going to mold my potatoes at. Move some equipment here. We're going to set up our breading station. All right. Yeah. For my breading process, got some cool stuff. So we got just regular AP flour. As you can see here, there's some specks of pepper in there. I got salt, I got pepper in there. That's why I told you not to go too heavy on here, because this will also have some salt and pepper inside this. I got some wonderful panko flake. This is gonna make these extra crispy, extra sexy. Tasty. And then, of course, our eggs. So with our eggs, all I'm going to do is crack them up. I'm going to scramble them in there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water to stretch that mixture out, right? And thin it out a little bit. Now, in goes the eggs. Boom. Just like so. A little bit of water. You can use milk if you wish. Now, we're going to grab ourselves a fork, a whisk, whatever you wish. I'm mixing this up. Like so. Now, if you looked on the recipe, there was a call for a little bit of milk. That is just strictly for this right here, for this mashed potato. So if you notice that you get a little bit too stiff, just drizzle in a little bit of mashed potato, or a little bit of milk into the mashed potatoes, mix it up, right? And it's just gonna smooth it out a little bit more. But like I said, I don't use a ton of milk or dairy, as far as milk or cream inside my mashed potatoes when I'm doing my potato pancakes. I want them to be a little bit starchy, just so they cling very well with the flour and the panko mix that we got. So as you see here, I'm just adding that. It gives it a little bit of creamier flavor as well. It mixes really nice with that butter, lightens it up. But that is a pretty good consistency, what I want, where I can mold it, right? All right, so let's do our breading. So breading there's a couple ways to do it. There's, we call it the wet dry method. And so basically you're either going to take this product which has moisture already in it, and we're going to add it to a dry product, which is flour, and then you wet it. And so the process we're doing today is the wet dry method. So I'm going to mold them, and I'm going to add them to flour to get a little bit of cleaning. I'm going to add them to the egg, and back into the flour, and back into the eggs, and then over to the panko. I know this seems like a lot, but this will make a really good crusting on the outside of it. So let's grab some taters. There's my working spoon. And get my spoon. It's a lot easier to work with. I'm just going to push this into the mold. Pull it up. I'm ready for another. You can use gloves, especially when you're dealing with breading products, because it can get quite messy and get all over your fingers and such. When we use gloves, in order to make the process a little bit easier, try to dedicate one glove to the dry and one to the wet. That'll make your life a lot easier. And these are also good when you reheat them inside an oven the next morning. Serve them up for breakfast with your eggs. Tasty, tasty. And you can make them whatever size you want. Like I said, these are all just guidelines here for everybody. Have fun, put whatever you want in them, mix it up, have some fun, make it yours. Your own creation for yourself or yourself and your family. And it goes. I think that's a good start point for us. What do you think? There we go. So we actually take these. Like I said before, I'm going to keep one that's dedicated to the dry method. So since I'm already got a little bit of moisture, I'm going to add it to my flour. Trying to keep my form. Don't be afraid to reform them if you need. I'm just going to dip them inside the liquid egg. Back out into my flour. I'm going to mix that up like so. One more time in the pool. Now I'm going to do my panko. I'm going to really crust that panko on the outside of it. See what I mean? It gets kind of gooey. So there's one cake. Beauteous. I'm going to do that with all these. These are great as little appetizers, so if you do some for the game, you can make tiny ones. I'll flip it around, make sure I get it on all sides, really encase that panko on there. I prefer using panko on a lot of stuff instead of like an Italian breadcrumb, just because panko gets extremely crispy. I like a good crunch. Do a little stretch. Use that a little bit of milk. Stretch out our egg mixture a little bit longer. Another one. Now when I cook these, you can do it in any skillet that you want. I'm doing mine in a cast iron, because as you know from previous episodes, I don't need to have an excuse to use a cast iron. I love my cast iron. And it goes. He said this is the most challenging part of the entire recipe, is just breading up the potato cakes. There's 4. It's good for us for tonight, wouldn't you say, son? Keep this party rolling. Move that stuff off to the side. Alright, so while we do, I'm just going to put those off to the side for a hot second. So we're going to cook these while our pork is resting. So I'm just going to put these back here on my oven just to wait, hang out. And I'm going to do it inside this shallow fry on the in my cast iron. Meantime, a little housekeeping. I'll clean up a little bit. We're going to do this salsa. The salsa is pretty quick and easy. Very few ingredients, which I like. You know, the simpler that we can make it, but yet tastes really good. That's what's important to me. And that way I can spend more time with the fam. All right. All right, salsa. Now our salsa, I've already roasted off our corn. See here, I got this nice roasted corn. I did it on the grill a little bit before we started the show. All I'm going to do is just shuck it, get all the husk off of it. Because we're going to take all these beautiful kernels off the cob. Get all the angel hair off. We're gonna shave it. All right. This brashola. Say goodbye. All right, so I got another small mixing bowl. What we're gonna do a couple things here. So, first of all, trusty dusty knife. Some things that we're gonna do with this. I've got some green peppers. I've got, this is actually, I'm using lemon juice in here. Lemon juice is gonna bring some tartness and some flavor to the recipe, but it's also the acid that's inside the lime, or I said lemon, didn't I? The acid that's in the lime is actually gonna keep my apples from browning out, which is what we want. But I also did a little bit of zest and I chopped it up just for another flavor contrast, a little bit of yumminess to put inside that salsa as well. So, I'm going to take in my corn, and I'm just cutting it right off the corn, or right off the cob. I like corn. Do you like corn? Delish. I love corn. Corn is good. You can tell I didn't grow up in the Midwest. I love me corn. Cutting it right off the cob. Also, by grilling it, for a hot second, there was a kernel that had a little bit of grill mark on it. Gives it some color. I like that. A little bit of color, a little bit of character. You can see here, nice little grill mark on there. So you get some color, get some texture, some flavors. So I'm just going to add that in. I'm taking all this corn, I'm just going to break it up and throw it into the bowl. This will break up as I start mixing all the other ingredients into it and start using a spoon. I'm just putting it all in there, break it up a little bit, break up that little party. There it goes. So we got that beautiful corn. You can use canned corn or even a frozen corn. I prefer fresh anytime I can. I always go with fresh. I mean, it's just a better product. Plus, when you can grill it and do whatever you want with it, that brings some fun to it. So I'm going to sprinkle some of that lime zest in. Now, we also have these green peppers. So I brunoise them. So brunoise is a small dice, right? I'll show you how we do this. Left us a little piece to show you. So I'm going to take my knife. I'm just going to, like I've always done, you know, like I've told you before, right on that knuckle. So we're just going to do my nice little small slices. Nice and tiny slices. I'm going to line them up. And then I'm going to come across and start chopping into a nice brunoise, which is a small dice, tiny dice. This is actually, I like doing the brunoise and such just because it brings a little bit more character to it. I mean, instead of just doing a huge dice, it brings a little bit of finesse, a little bit of fun. So that's how you do a brunoise. So I'm going to add the rest of my peppers into that. I've also done a little bit of diced onion. We're not going to go too crazy with it, but just enough to give it some flavor in the background. So here's my diced onion. Now, we're going to be getting ready to roll into the apples, but also, like I said, these are guidelines and you can do whatever you want. I got myself a jalapeno, just so we can bring a little bit of heat. I'm not going to put a whole lot in here, but just a little touch, just to give a little peppery accent in the back. All right. But let's get ready to core or slice up our Granny Smiths here. So we got these Granny Smiths, courtesy of our awesome next door neighbor. They came by and gave us some apples and such, so can't get much fresher than that, than straight from the locals, right? Support your local farmers and peeps. I'm gonna peel this because I don't want that skin on there. I got enough greenery in there to really accent it. I don't need to do much more. But I'm gonna take, this is my Swiss peeler. I love this peeler. It does a great job. It only takes a little bit of the skin off. You see? Nice and thin. You don't take too much. The thing is, with a good peeler, you don't want to take a bunch of the meat as well as the skin off. You just want to take the skin off. That's what, that's a sign of a good peeler. Run away. Man down. Last one. All right. You can always use these skins, drop them in a little bit of vodka, flavor it up, or even do nice little tiny shaved strips with your knife for another garnish. Throw it into a salad.
Appletini.
Appletini.
Any Scrubs fans?
Yeah. So I'm going to once again just cutting down the apple off the core, trying to square it up as easily as possible so I can brunoise these as well. Now I got my nice pieces of apple. Slice it down. And wad it up. I want to move somewhat quick so I don't brown out too much. We're going to get a little bit of brownage, but like I said, once we incorporate that lime juice, that's going to help out tremendously with keeping it fresh and crisp. I'm not cooking this down because I actually want a little bit of crunch factor, a little something different to go along with this pork. Pork and apples go fantastically together. Homer Simpson will agree. Pork chops and applesauce. Oh. Get it right here. Continue choppy. Getting it all together. Like we've also talked about before in the past on some of the shows that we've done, move the product around. Don't move your knife around, alright? Move the product, make it work for you. Whether you're deboning a chicken or chopping up product, you want to make sure that you're moving it about and not doing any weird angles where you're going to hurt yourself. Almost there. Two more. All right. Apples are done. In it goes. I'm going to leave the apples just on top for right now because I'm going to do the lime juice next. I really want to douse them really good with that lime juice to keep them bright and crisp. All right, so there's all my apples. So now I got my 2 limes. Boop, boop, ba-doop, boop, boop. When you're working with your limes, you want to put them on your cutting board, push down with your hand, and roll them. This will break up that juice inside there. I'm going to show you another little technique that we use, at least I've used all my life, when dealing with trying to extract the citrus juices. Because not every kitchen and not every chef carries a juicer with them, right? So you can either peel it from the outside, try to save yourself some of the, if there's seeds in it, or you grab the back of your knife and you use it as a juicer. And it goes lime juice. That's gonna make it really light flavor, really yummy. Instead of use the back of my knife, I'm going to use up every bit of that lime juice. Get it in there. Waste not, want none. Especially in this world, right? We're all about the economy. Saving some money. There we go. We have some empty shells. We extracted all the juicy juice out of that. That's what we want. So now, oops, slippery hands. Dry them off. Get the rest of that lime. Put that in there. I'm gonna mix this in. And we're gonna put in secret ingredient X, which is a touch of jalapeno. Not much. Just enough to give it some flavor, and then we'll hit it with some honey. I want to bring some sweetness, extra sweetness to it. Not only am I going to get the crunch and the zest, but I also want that sweetness of some honey. I'm going to grab my jalapeno, break it up a little bit, grab my hands. All I'm doing is rolling it in my hands, break those seeds away. That's where you get a lot of the heat, is from the seeds. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to use a touch of this goodness. Just a little accent. A little how's your mama? And it goes. Who's going to get it? Who knows? So I'm just going to mix that in. And now, a touch of honey. I'm going to incorporate that in. I want to bring the sweetness, so I'm doing about a good 2 tablespoons. And mix that in with all that lime juice, so lemon honey yumminess. Then we'll be ready to go to our next operation, which is going outside and banging out some pork. I'm just gonna put a little bit of S&P in there. It's an accent. It's gonna pinch of both. Make sure you try as you go. Very important. Alright, I'm going to take this party, put it in the fridge. Let that chill and have fun. Now, time to go outside and do some grilling. That's part of the program. My grill is wicked hot, like straight from Hades hot. I'm gonna place it on there. Get some pork on it. Since my grill is about as hot as the sun, this is not gonna take long to cook. I'm gonna do some nice grill marks on both sides. Once I hit it, I'm gonna quarter turn it and make my diamond marks. Be right back. Alright, washed my hands, grabbed my coffee, flame up, not a big deal, move him away. So, want some nice diamond marks? So you got some marks, right? Just quarter turn them. Hot grill. Perfect for this. I'm going to go ahead and back it off just a little bit, prevent some of the flame ups. You're going to have some, but because there is fat on the outside of that pork, I'm going to make some nice diamond marks. Once we cook this, we're going to bring it back in, and I'm going to let it rest. I'm going to put tin foil over the top of it and let it rest while we make our potato pancakes. How's it looking? Porking? Look at that. The straight from Hades grill. Show you. Perfect diamonds. I'm just gonna flip it over. Flip it over. Flip it over. Flip it over. This one cupped a little bit just because it was an end cut. But the key with dealing with any kind of meats and you're cooking them is to, once you put it down, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Don't play around with it. Don't keep picking it up and looking at it. Let it do its magic. Alright, now, you watch the oil, make sure you don't get flat. I'm going to go for it. Here's a cheater. Alright. I throw a little piece in there, see if it starts frying. And it's looking hot. So now I'm going to take my potato pancake and add it on in there. Look at that. It's dancing with life. I think we can get two. What do you think? Why not? Boom. I'm gonna let this get golden brown on both sides. Meantime, I'm gonna get ready to go out and grab the pork, and we're gonna let that stuff sit here on this plate, and I'm gonna cover it with aluminum foil, trap the heat in there, let it rest. We just kind of bombarded the meat with a lot of stuff with heat and such, so it's going to purge out and then it's going to soak it back in, which is what we want. Let me go grab the chops. Pork choppers. I'm just going to put them down here. I'm going to take a sheet of aluminum foil. Or as the guys from Top Gear would say, aluminium. Aluminium.
Oh, that's old Top Gear, sir, not new.
That's right. I'm just going to let that rest. Just like that. Keep the heat in there, let it rest. Let's see how these cakes are coming. How are we looking? Let's see. Look how golden they're getting. That's what we want, nice and golden brown. I'm going to let that party just continue on. Meanwhile, living on the edge, I'm going to throw a third one in because I can. And I just might even throw the fourth one in. Good thing about that, it raises the grease up to the sides, which will help it cook it on the sides for you. I'm just going to let that have a party in the pan. Just do what it does. Should be awesome. Meantime, let me clear off my zone. Excuse me. And get ready for our plated presentation. It will be magical. How's it looking over there, bud? Quick turn. Flip turn. Excuse me real quick. Just gotta squeeze in real quick. Just so I can flip them. Don't flip them over. Just gonna flip them. Just like that. Go a little bit longer. That's gonna be good. All right. Plate prepared. Another thing I'm going to do, once I pull them out, I'm going to put them on a paper plate with some paper towel. That'll help absorb any excess grease that carries over, right? So you don't have a greasy mess. You want crispy, you want tasty, but you don't want greasy. I love the face, though. That was awesome. Right on in. Flip her on over. Listen to this. You hear that? That's a crispy outer shell. It's gonna be crispy on the outside, have some salt and pepper flavors to it, but on the inside it's going to be nice and smooth and creamy and yummy. You ready for a potato pancake? I know I am. I think this one is going to be our starter. Get under it. Let that rest. Right on that paper towel. I'm gonna take this bad boy now. Place him right on the center of that plate. Our pork's been resting a little bit. Can always go a little bit longer, but let's see what we got. Look at that. So as you can see, it purges out a little bit and then it starts absorbing it back in. So now all we have to do is grab a piece of pork. I think this one looks good. What do you think? we're going to put it off to the side of it. And then I'm going to grab some of this corn salsa and I add it right to it. So bring that sweetness, bring that yumminess to the plate. And then we can grab some of our extra sprigs of chive, place it right on top. And there you have tonight's meal. All right. Ooh. You like that? I think you're getting a double thumbs up, and I can't wait until we dive into this. All right, so I'm going to finish up these other potato pancakes that are cooking along on the back here. Like always, join us every Sunday here at Chef Scott Blair's Adventures in Food. You can follow me here on Twitch. Please do follow me. You can subscribe on my YouTube channel, Chef Scott Blair. You can also find me on Instagram, Chef Scott Blair 99. And all our recipes and everything, our existing videos that we've done from beginning of time to now, you can find on my website, chefscottblair.com. So follow me, like me, do all that great jazz. We'll see you all next week for another Adventure in Food. I do. The juice that keeps me going. Some chefs do other bad things in kitchens. I lived on coffee all the time, day and night. Everyone says, didn't you stay up all night for that? No. Sleep like a baby. Sweet nectars.